So I took the rear driver's side window out of the Focus, and then got this Dodge Challenger fuel door and put this in here. So essentially this is the Corvette fuel filler. This used to be inside the car behind my head, so I decided to put it on the outside. So I made this panel, and then there's actually two pieces to it. There's an inner panel and an outer panel, and then that all goes inside the car. Goes down to there, and then goes into the original fuel location for the Corvette. So instead of it being inside the car, where you put the gas in, I used to have to open my door. Now I can actually just do it right from the outside like normal. So it's kind of cool. Kind of a neat little thing to do the other side, but I have it wired up for both doors. So now when I hit the lock button, this locks. Now when I unlock it, got that one and that one. So I got that all wired in, and then have everything ran to where the door module is in here. The wires come out of the door like normal instead of here, and then this runs all the way back into the stock Ford door harness. So working on a few other things. I'll have to clean up the other side, and then we'll build a nice door panel. I got the Ford headlighter harness hooked up to the Chevy right now, and what we're going to do is hit the unlock button, and look at that, we got dome lights. So I'll wire those up, and then we'll put those back in the headliner. Alright, there we go, guys. So I'm going to order a momentary switch to wire this in, but there we go. Got dome lights. I got the running lights down here. So it'll be super nice to be able to have that. So when I open the door or lock it or unlock it, I'll have the dome light hooked up. I got a switch for the door opening. I got one for a Jeep. I'll just end up using for that. I was going to use the stock Ford one, but it works completely backwards. So when it's hooked up, it thinks that when the door's shut, it thinks it's open. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to just use the momentary switch. I'll probably put it like right here, and then I'll clean all this up. UPS man dropped off something super cool. I'm excited to show you what's in this box. Alrighty, it's opened here. Nice. Yep, there's one of the fronts. And then here's the back wheel. So it's a 19 by 11 in the back, 19 by 10 in the front, and then I believe it's a plus, I have to double check it, I think it's a plus 15 and then a plus 25. So it's really similar offset to what I had on the ESR wheels. So I'm going to move these Kumo tires, 285 and a 305 over onto the Focus. But I'm super excited with the way that came out. This is going to be really something. Headed over to Texas Tire in Loveland to get the tires after they unmounted them off the ESRs, and then they put them onto the new 3-piece Revolve wheels. So they've done a really good job for me with the other car, so I'm excited to see how these turned out on this one. So stay tuned. I'll be putting these on the car hopefully today yet. Rubber mounted on the wheels. They look really, really good. So I'm excited to show you guys what it looks like on the car. A switch, so now when I open up the door, I got the dome lights kicking on. Pretty cool. And then the security light is flashing like normal. So basically I have this momentary switch that I put in right here. So then when the door shuts, it disconnects it, which is wired into the Corvette factory harness. So yeah, everything's working as it should. Nationwide event, just waiting to get in. Big line of cars to come in, so got Ryan in front of me. It should be pretty fun. I'm excited. wires back here. So what I ended up doing here is this is the stock forward door harness. Did it a little different on this side. I wish I kind of did it this way on the other one. So I ran stock forward door harness, and then this is the stock forward body harness, and then traced the wires back, and then have everything kind of labeled now to know where it would go into the Corvette door module. So then I'm going to put the Corvette door module basically inside of here, because on this side I have a lot more going on, because I moved the ECU in here, and then the radio and all the heater controls and the heater box is in here, and that's honestly why the dash is so huge. But yeah, I'm going to move all of this and then figure out where all the wires go, and then I got to hook up the back door for the locks, and then should be all set. This is the door switch. So this is for a Jeep. So this just grounds out, and then the lights go on and off. You can hear the relays kicking on and off. All it does is ground it out. So super simple. Put a riv nut back there, same like I do for the wide body. I ran a ground wire. It works. All right, so we've been working on, getting the wires hooked up, like things like the door locks, running all the wiring to where it's not just coming out of the side of the dash. I have it actually run through and coming onto the door. But another big part of that in building new door panels is I had to fix the back. So originally, when you open this, there was just the Corvette frame where the door sill was. So I cut that, and I basically cut it in half, and then I bent it back over and then welded it to the car. And then I put some flat steel over the front of it, and that way I can build a flat door panel here and then not have a huge gap. So I ended up just welding that in and painting it, and then I'll run the weather stripping all in, and that way I'll have a flat door panel. It'll look a lot nicer. I'll show you kind of what I'm doing on the other side. So I just got a template putting together. So all of the door controls are in the dash now. So I'll have a pull handle, and then I'm going to run the top piece here of the door for the doorknob, and I'll have the speaker in there. So it'll be just a really flat sheet, and then I'll do that in the front and the back. Really clean things up so I don't have all the wiring and stuff showing. So I'm pretty excited about it. Panel. So I have this one done. They have to just peel this stuff off here, but made it out of 3mm max metal, and then I have a strap here, and then this actually is mounted through, there's a post on this side that's mounted into the frame or the door structure. So now I'm going to cut out the other side using the template I have, and then work on putting that in on the other side. This side is really tight, so I had to kind of massage this a bit in here where this meets up with the frame structure for the dash. But overall, looks way better. No wires, because this is where the wires used to come out. It's all cleaned up. And then I moved the window controls into the dash. So really the only thing in here is the door handle, the pull strap, and then I moved the speaker right there. So it's looking a lot better. This one went a lot faster just because I had everything already kind of labeled. So putting the pull handle strap in, and then I'll put the plastic back in. Already kind of clearanced it out to where this one can shut and open, and yeah, it's nice having a nice flat panel without the wires and stuff hanging out. My door panel project is finally mostly done-ish. So I got the front doors all done, got the dome lights all wired up. Ended up putting another piece of weather stripping right there to help seal that up where that spot is. Got my pull handle here, and then on the back I ran out of material, so I ended up having to make it out of 2 different pieces, but this is just way better than it was. So the bottom strip that kind of butts up against the little ledge there, and then yeah, I mean, it just works. Then put the weather stripping all the way back down and ran some rib nuts in it. I'll show the other side here. So everything opens and shuts real nice. And then now this just looks way better than it was. Got that right there. Got the same thing. And then it's the same on this side. So it's really cool. And then now when I get in it, it's a lot easier to shut the door because I have got this to grab onto. So I'm really excited. It cleaned it up a lot. Looks way better than it did with just the metal all cut open. So got some neat stuff going on in the Corvette, or the Focus. So what we have is, these are from Anti-Boomer Manufacturing. They're control arm built specifically for bagged Corvettes to clear the bag, so they're a little wider. And then I've got the After Dark Speed bump steer outer tie rods, and then SLR sent me their beefed up inner tie rods because those ones are kind of shot anyway. And then we have the eccentric bolt lockout kit, which I think was from FDF Race Shop. Yep. So that'll lock out the lower control arms to where they're not, that eccentric bolt won't move out. So I think between all of this, it should really tighten up the front end quite a bit. I was going to do the ball joints while I was at it, but I can't find a good set of upper ones right now. But yeah, these upper control arms are going to be awesome because they allow for a lot of camber adjustment. So I can go between -3 and -9 of camber, which is just crazy. And then if I need to adjust it out, these are threaded. And then I can always, like how they did it from the factory, put the washers behind here, how the factory one adjusts. So yeah, between all this, it's going to be great. And that way I don't have to use the shaved stock front control arms, which will give me a lot more clearance and peace of mind with the front airbag. What are we working on today, boys?
The car.
What are we going to do on the car? Do we have control arms, ball joints, and suspension to put on?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, that's what
We got this up and off of the ground and on the jack stands. Got a whole heap of parts to put on. So we're going to need to put on the control arms and then all the ball joints and inner and outer tie rods. Basically the whole front end we'll rebuild here, and it'll be a lot better, a lot tighter, and should drive down the highway a little bit. So a big reason why we're doing this also is for the bag clearance, because right now at full droop it's contacting the bag, which is fine. It wouldn't do that just normally driving. I had to shave quite a bit of these arms to make it even clear the bag, so I'm gonna put the new arms on, which will have a lot more clearance here for full droop and at ride height. Then we're gonna go ahead and do the upper and lower ball joints, the inner and outer tie rods, eccentric lockouts, you know, all the nice Corvette C5 stuff to help it handle a little bit better. So I'm really excited to get that. So you guys can see, here's the difference between the stock control arm and then the larger, wider one for the bags. See how much more clearance that's going to have. So I'm excited to get that put on. And then we got a lot more camber adjustment here between -3 and -9 of negative camber. So between this and then the lockouts in the bottom, it's going to be pretty great. It is possible to remove the steering rack out of a Corvette without dropping the subframe or taking the sway bar out. So I got it out. It was really weird to do, but you can do it. So now I gotta clean up all the oil and sludge mess that's everywhere. But yeah, you can take a C5 rack out without dropping the subframe, which I very much so was not wanting to do, because I would have to redo how I have it jacked up. So super exciting. Getting a new steering rack, or I used one on eBay. The one I had was just leaking so much. Figured just get another one versus having to deal with trying to rebuild it for now. So put that on, and then gotta finish doing the ball joints and everything else. And then got some new brake rotors and pads coming. So the whole front end should be all new once this is done. Well, sad update. I was taking off the tie rod ends to put this rack in. Supposedly good rack from a car that wasn't in an accident. You know, all the things. But this one actually is bad. So you can see here where this made contact with the harmonic balancer. So the rack can't actually do a full lock-to-lock turn because it binds up the little piston inside. It bends in there, and it's not good. So we'll work on this and see what we can do, but I might just end up rebuilding the original rack and then see if I can get some sort of refund or warranty on this. Alrighty, I figured I would take apart the bad parts steering rack I had to learn how it comes apart. So got it all apart and learned that this one for sure would have never worked because the seal on the piston is all smashed because this rack actually made contact with the harmonic balancer, so its tube has bent. So I'm gonna just see how this all goes apart, and then I've got my actual steering rack right there, and then I'll use this rebuild kit to put the seals in, and then that way I can move on. This was something I wasn't planning on doing, but the boots were just full of power steering fluid, so it seems to be a pretty common problem with the C5s over time. And then I'll finish up the rest of the front end, but this is kind of like a big thing I needed to check. Alright, I got the rack in, just trying to make sure it's all working, no leaks. I gotta bleed it, make sure there's no air bubbles in there. So it's got, I opened the system, so I gotta let all the air out. So I'll cycle it a bit, but yeah, looks like it's working okay. The steering rack is in. Now I'm working on pressing the lower control arm ball joints out. So I got this one out, and then I'm gonna put the new one in, which is just an OEM one. So I'll do that, and I'll do that on the other side, and then I can start actually reassembling everything. I think that's the last new piece I've got to press in. Right, hit a slight snag. The inner tie rod from SLR is a lot shorter than the stock one, and it just would not have worked for what I needed it to do. So now I'm going to put this one back on. This one luckily isn't that bad. It seems pretty tight still, but I was hoping to get a new one on, but I guess not. The car all set up, so now I'm just going to do a quick wheel alignment. So I've done this a million times. I'm just going to go ahead and set the toe in the front, and then I think we should be doing the first test drive here after, well, I guess the second test drive after putting all the new stuff on. Seems to be doing pretty good. Need to make a little bit of an adjustment on the passenger side, but other than that, it's driving straight. I don't even have my hands on the wheel. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Let me see. What'd you find? Oh, alrighty. Been doing a lot of different adjustments, doing some alignment and stuff at my house. So I did my kind of DIY alignment with the string, but it was pretty obvious that the caster angle was set kind of incorrectly. So it's kind of neat with these control arms. I just wanted to show you how we can do that a little bit. So the C5 needs about 4 to 7 degrees of positive caster. So if we look at what your caster is, we really want to have positive. So that's going to be where your upper ball joint is facing the rear of the car, and your lower ball joint is more forward. So, right here, what we can do is we can see that these control arms, which are really nice from Anti-Boomer Manufacturing, they have an opening in them. So where like a stock arm, you'd have to put a shim in here and you can move it back and forth, which I'm still doing. But you also have this adjustment. But if you do that, you're going to impact your camber. But with this oblong opening here, you can actually move this forward and back, and you can see that move just ever so slightly, and then that will make the caster angle great. So if I move this further back, I'm going to gain caster from moving the upper ball joint further than the lower ball joint. Now the other thing I'll show, so like if we were to say I had a bunch of shims in here and I pushed this other one forward, you can see that's gaining negative caster. But then if I put it back this way, you can see now we've got more positive caster. It'd be the same if I removed shims, or if I added shims on this side, pushed this one out, then that would then move this one back. So there's a few things you could do to gain it, but I just wanted to show like this is your caster angle there. So you can see that's the relationship between your top and lower ball joint, just moving that like that. So I wanted just to explain that a little bit and kind of show you what I'm missing. Focus at night, pretty late, trying to make sure everything's working. Just did another alignment. I think I got the toe set just about right. It's not darting as much as it was. Got a little bit more caster. Everything seems to be going pretty good, so it's cruising down the road great. What are we putting on, Stetson?
Two-step bunker.
So we're going to put the MSD box on here, two-step launch control. It looks really, really easy to put on. And then that'll go on there on either side of the coil pack, and then one side goes to the clutch switch. So it only should take a few minutes. got the MSD box mounted up. Just ran some riv nuts through here and then mounted it to the fender. Then ran all the wires back underneath the cover. Everything looks pretty nice. So I think that'll be a good spot because then I can still reach it to adjust like the RPM cutoffs and make sure it's working with that LED. So